So once you've freed Rito Village of its scourge by defeating the dungeon, you can head on over to Rito Village in this section right here, over the bridge that you can see right in front of me, speak to this NPC, and what's going to end up happening the first time you go here, she's going to ask you for something specific, like, for example, either glowing cavefish, bright caps, and chillfin trout. If you're duplicating or you're not duplicating, the point is you can accumulate a lot of arrows. You'll get 10 arrows every time you make a trade. The problem is you don't get to pick what you're going to have. It's going to be randomized. At least that's been the case for me. So this hasn't necessarily panned out to be the best, but some people say that this is pretty good. I wish that we could have just chosen between the three that she'll ever ask for, but this is definitely worth a mention. The way that I farm arrows, this isn't necessarily the best. Notice how the title says how I gather arrows, okay? Is you start the game, it helps if I know where you start the game. You start the game right here at the Lookout Landing Skyview Tower. And if you head southwest, actually just north of the Shrine of Resurrection where you would have started in Breath of the Wild, there's a place called Outskirts Stable. Overall, this is quote-unquote my favorite stable to go to because there's that weird funky NPC with the weird clown nose and that umbrella bag that replenishes a stock every time you go and you sleep at a campfire, and you're able to buy arrows from him. Now, there are other areas where there are campfires where you can just very more easily, more accessibly, if that's a word, able to sleep to replenish the stock. The problem is, okay, is he doesn't necessarily have as many arrows as when Beedle is found at other locations. So as you can see here, we got a fire. Beedle will spawn right next to my medallion point. Now, if you don't have the medallion, you don't want to waste your time, you know, with the extra 10 seconds that you can save, you can go to the Tsutsu Shrine. Okay? And all you're doing is you're just constantly rebuying his stock. This is how I buy arrows. So if we look at what he's got here, he's got 20 arrows, but then 2 stacks of 5, so he's got 30 arrows at a time. And you just go ahead and you buy those. It's really just as simple as that. Now, you could technically fly around and all this sort of stuff, but I don't find that it's worth doing that. Okay? Now, when did we buy them? It's 8:25. It should replenish by 5 a.m. If it doesn't, just sleep again. It's really not a big deal. This isn't, again, like what you could do in Breath of the Wild. I think there was a much easier method, but this isn't Breath of the Wild. It's better. It's Tears of the goddamn Kingdom. And now he's back. See? That's what I'm talking about. So is this, again, the best? No, but if you're in a pinch and you need 100 arrows, you could do this literally in just a couple of minutes, farm up 100 arrows. You know what I mean? Depending on what version you're in and you're duping, like I said, you could potentially go to the Rito Village. But this is more, beginner friendly, right? Because you can get to this area relatively quickly near the beginning of the game. So, and again, if this fire is out or it's raining, you can light the fire. You can always sleep inside at the inn. I get it. It takes a little bit of extra time. But for me, it's worth it because arguably in the game, one of the best ways to get through some very, very difficult parts of the game is using a bow and arrows. Like, they are so invaluable. There isn't like a word that properly describes how important it is to have like a plethora, you know what I mean, of like some nice, good bows. It's just so important. And the other thing, too, is even for, like, Ganon or something like that, arguably someone who's definitely challenging if you don't know what you're doing compared to the other bosses, as I found this game to be so much easier than Breath of the Wild. Thank God for a noob like me. The other thing is going to be getting those Gerudo bones or whatever it's called. But I don't want to make this video any longer than it needs to be, 5 minutes. There you have it. Hopefully this is of some use. And if it is, and you like the video, go ahead, give it a thumbs up. It does greatly help support the channel with the algorithm in making me a little bit more relevant in the search results when people are looking shit up. If you didn't like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. I'll bend it in half and twist it, break it off in your ass. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, I mean, naturally, that would be great. But if not, thanks for stopping by anyways. Take care, and maybe I'll see some of you in the next one. Bye for now.